Hello, everybody. Welcome.
Hello, and welcome once again to our Energies and Opportunities 2025 monthly broadcast. We're going to be sharing with you an overview of the remainder of April, this last week of April, and we'll go through the entire coming month of May. Broadcasting today, Saturday, April 26th. And once again, we're delighted to be with you. We have so much to share about the upcoming planetary changes in the last week of April and throughout the month of May. It's really an exciting time. Lots moving, lots changing. So, for those of you who don't know, I'm Carol Eastwood.
And I'm Chetan Parkman.
And if you're new to our community, we want to warmly welcome you to Evolutionary Human Design. And for those of you who've been with us for a while, for some years, or for some many moons, we're delighted to have you back with us again. As you all may know, we produce our monthly overview every month to keep you up to date with the changing energies of our times. But I don't know if you're aware that we also have a blog series, which you can access anytime by going to our website, evolutionaryhumandesign.com/blog, and it has a wealth of in-depth information there for you to enjoy. And if you can't attend our live broadcast for our monthly Energies and Opportunities series, you can also access it on YouTube. Go to youtube.com/@evolutionaryhumandesign, and then just click on the live tab, and that will get you to a replay of our broadcast. So here we are as we enter the 5th month of this transformational year of tumultuous change to reach beyond the bounds of possibility like never before. We need to be in alignment with our soul essence and living a spirit-directed life. To that end, we want to invite you to join us in a deep exploration of the evolutionary potential of human design with our Human Design Training Series, which is a step-by-step course of learning with bi-weekly small group webinars with the master himself, Chetan, where he'll be leading the group and there to answer all of your questions. He'll be putting your charts up to display with those of you who submit charts, and I'm going through answering any of the questions that may arise as you go module through the training. So it's a very in-depth and complete training with 9 months of bi-weekly support from the master. So take a look to find that. Go to our website, evolutionaryhumandesign.com, click on the trainings tab, and it'll drop down and go to HDTS, the Human Design Training Series. You can read more about it there and join us. We are starting a new class in this coming month. So excited to be doing that. And we know there are many of you in our community now who've already taken HDTS. And if you're ready to take your work with human design to the next level, we're going to be producing level 4, which is our human design professional practitioner training with, again, small group coaching. This small group coaching is led by both me and Chetan. To find that, go to our website. I feel like a broken record, evolutionaryhumandesign.com/certifications, and you'll see our level 4 training thing. So this is an amazing journey that is, a fairly small group of people learning together to take what you've already learned with human design, you're perhaps already using as a coach, as a consultant, as a teacher, as an advisor, as a guide, but now take that to the next level to be able to deliver a really impactful human design reading. So check it out and join us if you're so inspired. Let's dive now into what this extraordinary month of May and a little bit of the remainder of April has in store for us.
Don't we always say, hey, get ready for this next month because it's going to be very unusual, very particular? I mean, I'm looking at my notes for the month of May, and it's like, we have to be ready for massive transformation. It really is this year of tumultuous change, and being in step with it is going to involve quite a bit of shifting around from out of old patterns to old programs. So Are you going to start off with the astrological part of you?
I can, and I'm happy to.
Great.
Like to start with tomorrow. We're going to talk about tomorrow today. So tomorrow, April 27th, we have a new moon in the sign of Taurus. So once the sun left the sign of Aries, where it's been, and those of you who were with us last month heard all about the really highly challenging times. That really, while the sun has been in Aries, we've had quite a few, let's just say,
Hiccups.
balls dropping, and perhaps some new awareness forming from them. But it hasn't been an easy time. We're looking forward to a little bit better, a little bit easier time, especially as we hit stride with about after the 10th of May. For now, looking forward to this new moon tomorrow. The new moon sets the stage for the coming month. And with the new moon in Taurus, what we're looking at is grounding our new activity in our values. So it may be that this month, and especially what this new moon will bring, is a bit of a re-examination of our values. Once again, we go through periodic times of doing this, but it's especially poignant for this time we're in now, because the new moon, not only do we have this new moon at 7 degrees of Taurus, but we also have it in a right angle square to Pluto, the planet of transformation. And it's Pluto in Aquarius now. And it's a transformation of how we do business, finding new creative ways of working. And I think we all know that that's part of the change in scenery right now. Also, the new moon is receiving a right angle, it's what we call a square aspect, from Mars in Leo. Poor Mars, it has been in the sign of Cancer for months and months and months and months, all the way back into the latter part of last year.
It sounds unhappy there.
Mars has been in Cancer this whole time. It's not its best or favorite sign to be in, because Mars is fiery energy. It's about getting things done. It's about doing things. It's kind of the opposite of nurturing and taking care and being supportive or supporting. So but there's a reason for everything. We've had this almost 5 months of Mars going through the sign of Cancer as a way to wake us up to how are we caring for ourselves? How are we caring for our loved ones? How are we caring for our business and for the community of people who we work with? So it's been a time of really needing to take another look at that and perhaps come to some new realizations about how we would move forward in our business life, in our professional or our work life. So that's what this new moon is really highlighting. There's some other things going on at this time of the new moon. Jupiter is the planet of expansion and growth, and learning new things, new adventures, and it's it's about going beyond the rational mind to more tuning into the intuitive mind. And it's in a linking aspect with Chiron in Aries. It's bringing innovation, it's bringing growth, it's bringing expansion of social networks, in particular this year with Jupiter in Gemini, for the time it's in Gemini. A lot of new social connections. I know we're joining with 2 new groups that we're going to be producing webinars and classes for, and sharing our wisdom and collaborating with people here in America and also in Europe. So it's that sort of thing, that tuning into new networks and meeting new people, and it's part of this way. It's part of what's supporting us to transform how we're bringing our work into the world. So Mercury, and I can hear the groan now. Mercury's been in retrograde. However, it went direct, and I did that last week. So Mercury in Aries now is gaining a bit of speed, and by the time of our new moon, Mercury will have passed its station point where it originally turned retrograde. So with that, what happens is things speed up, you'll see things will get a little easier towards the end of April, the beginning of May, and into May. In terms of our connections, our communication, we won't have to be redoing so many things or going back and completing things that we started a while ago. So that energy is going to feel good as it releases. Now, Venus won't do this until mid-May, but we'll get to that a little bit later. So we're having, once again, a value clarification, incorporating some higher spiritual principles into the way we do our daily business and how we conduct our daily lives. That's how I see this new moon, big transformation.
So, are we ready for this? When I look at what's coming up in this next month and the transformation that's going to happen from the human design perspective, we're talking about a lot of individual channels happening, which means basically all about self-empowerment, all about connecting with our sovereignty, with our own true way through life. And so, as Carola says, this new moon on the 27th, it's happening tomorrow, is just a very particular point in space. It's in the 24th hexagram, and it's in the first line. The 24th hexagram is the one that's called returning. It's one of the 4 directional hexagrams in the I Ching. Returning, it's like coming back in, having a look at what it is that's occurred and refining it. Having a look to see, is there a better answer, a better way of looking at things? And what the first line calls itself, it calls itself being principled. A constant need to review what is personally meaningful, right? These last months, all kinds of things have been flying around, and our attention has probably been distracted in all kinds of different ways. And it's a great time now with this new moon just to really be centered, be very clear in oneself. And it says, you have the clear intent to proceed in life while aligning firmly with your principles. That's what this new moon's all about, aligning firmly with, I should emphasize, your principles. Mm-hmm. What are your principles in amongst all the chaos in the world at the moment?
And I would use the words values, but I think we mean the same thing.
Well, going along with this new moon, we also have the channel, the money channel, the 2145, and it's Mercury and Jupiter playing. And Jupiter in the 45, it's just really energizing all kinds of possibilities on the financial side. So things have been a little chaotic lately financially. Probably all of us have been a little bit strung out with it all. And just these last few days of the month of April, we have this energy with us. Concluding the month on the 30th, we have the first of several arrivals of this channel of initiation. And that's the one that goes between the willpower center and the self center, the 5125. And here we got Mercury and Venus playing. So let's just say it's time really to kind of heads up. It's really time to be aware of seeing this is the beginning of massive transformation that can take place in all kinds of different ways. This is how we titled the year, you know, huge upheaval, but all kinds of extraordinary things coming out of it. As we enter into May, we come out of the 24th hexagram. We go into the 4 directions where we're kind of looking to see, all right, where's our path going to take us? What do we need to assimilate inside ourselves? And this 2551, this channel of initiation, is also backed up by the planet Neptune as well. So Neptune and Venus together in the 25, the gateway of innocence.
Beautiful.
So, you know, how about a fresh start in our relating? And I use the word relating rather than relationship, right? Relating, how do we get in present tense with our relating? You know, how do we bring ourselves into that place and see great things are possible as we enter in this month. The 3rd of merry month of May, the planet Pluto goes retrograde. And that basically means it's going to cover over a bit of ground that we've just gone through. It's in the hexagram number 41. And from human design perspective, the 41 is the beginning of all things. It calls itself decrease in the original I Ching translation, but it's that place of recognizing what is it that's possible when we're looking out from a place, we might say, of great confusion, when we're starting into something very, very different. what is it that we can envision for ourselves? Where do we see ourselves? You know, we often ask our question, you know, where are we going to be in 5 years from now? Well, I challenge anybody to answer that question at the moment. But where are we going to be in this year in particular? Recognizing there's going to be this tremendous transformation that's taking place. So very, very particular entry into the month. On the 5th, the planet Saturn also goes into gateway number 25. So again, this redoubling of this channel, the 2551, this channel of initiation. We got Mercury, we got Venus, we got Neptune, we got Saturn involved in it all. So tremendous energy here in this, taking a jump out of the tried and true into a completely different experience in our life. So that's how I see us concluding the merry month of April and going into the month of May. And it, you know, this is just getting things started.
It really is, isn't it? As we continue on and into the month of May, the first thing we come to astrologically is a first quarter moon. And that first quarter moon at 14 degrees of Leo. So the first quarter moon, as many of you know, is the first point at which, after the new moon, well, we get, you know, at the new moon, we get the seed, or the idea, or the beginning of a new cycle. And we've come to know what that is. It gets more and more clear. By the time we're at the first quarter moon, we should have clarity about what this new thing is that's working through us, or that's being created through us, or that we have decided to embark upon. It might be that overt. And you know, you were talking about the aspects with all the planets in gate 25. Astrologically, they're in the latter part of the sign of Pisces, in the very, very beginning, the very first couple of degrees of the sign of Aries, which is a really significant turning point in the zodiac, because, you know, Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac. It's about completion and wrapping things up. And Aries is the first sign, which is about new beginnings and, you know, new shoots sprouting up from the ground. So we have this, you know, and all of this happening in this channel of initiation. We have this awakening, this quickening, this old things completing so new things can begin, as a theme for this early part of the May in particular. Saturn's going to continue together with what we call the North Node, which is basically the moving soul path for all of humanity in Pisces, where it will remain. The soul path's going to remain in Pisces the rest of the year. It's a time of delving deeply into our spirituality, into our spirit essence. It's a time of learning to live more and more from that higher spiritual inspiration, rather than from our didactic mind and from our, you know, logical sort of planning.
Yeah, we're moving more into the intuition.
Yes, we are. And that said, I mean, you know, Saturn, these planets are also in a linking sextile with the planet Uranus. And Uranus and Taurus. And Uranus is the awakener to higher states of consciousness. It's the bridge from the third dimensional awareness to the fifth dimensional awareness. So these planets that are gathered there in late Pisces, early Aries, are in this linking, beautiful energy with Uranus, saying, you know, there's this continual push to innovate, to, yes, be clear about our new values, but not just understand them, but work with them to innovate, to get out of the box of our customary ways of thinking, our customary ways of being, and really working to find how we're contributing now. What is our new contribution? And, you know, and there's really, for all of us, there's no choice right now except to change, except to evolve. That's the name of the game in this year.
If you ever had any doubts about it.
Right. And there are so many really positive, powerful aspects here coming out of this first quarter moon. I'm just going to share a few of them with you because I think you'll have some recognitions. So, you know, we talked about Mars being in Leo, a highly creative sign. Mars loves being in a fire sign. It's just all systems go. Mars in Leo prompts us to take action and creative action. It's in this beautiful flowing triangle aspect to Neptune and Venus. Neptune and Venus both just moved into the very earliest degrees of Pisces in that gate 25, in that channel of initiation. And what that does is it brings this huge creativity and inspired vision that is powering this new movement that we're beginning to see clearly now what that is and moving towards it as we head into the month of May. We might find that over the past few months and even up until this time, that our resources have been really stretched, like maybe stretched to the max. But the advice here is don't cave in, don't get small about it, continue to expand, continue to innovate, because resources go in ebbs and flows, ups and downs. So what goes a bit down comes back up, as we'll see, for instance, with the stock market and all this hullabaloo everybody's making about, the stock market is crashing. And, hey, we're going through a time of big change. Maybe we'll emerge with an entirely new currency, an entirely new way of exchanging value.
The algorithms are on a flummox.
Yeah. So what I'm saying here is continue learning, continue adapting to new resources, new opportunities, and trust that this time, although we're coming out of quite a bit of challenges, if we've had our realizations and we have gotten clear about what our next thing is to do, to be, to express, then this is the time following this first quarter moon on May 4th to get going with that.
So if you talk about the sun going into Taurus, I'm going to say the sun now is going into all the gates in the throat center in the human design chart. And the significance of this is it's a quarter of the sky that we call the quarter of civilization. And civilization basically means for the next month or few, we're going to be opening up all kinds of different levels of communication. And we're going to kind of meet in different ways. That's the possibility of it. The throat center in human design, we see it, yes, it's very much where we get to communicate, but it's also the center of manifestation. So whether we're manifesting our thoughts, whether we're manifesting our feelings, whether we're manifesting our whole energy in the programs, this is the season for that. And there's a lot of individuality involved in this, in the human design chart at the moment. And when I say individuality, I'm talking about personal empowerment. I'm talking about personal sovereignty. It's about claiming one's own rights. What is right for me? What do I know in myself that is right? And so come the 3rd of the month, the sun goes into the number 2 hexagram, which is the gate of the receptivity. It is the most yin receptive gateway in the whole of the I Ching. So just from the 3rd through till the 7th of the month, we have this progression of just being open to getting new orientation in our life. At this same time, we have this channel, the 1-8, which is the channel of individual creative leadership. And we've got the Earth on one side. In the first hexagram, we have Uranus, which Carola just described as the breakout planet, the 5th dimensional planet, in the 8th hexagram. And we have this up until the 9th of the month. And at the same time, the planet Jupiter, which I was saying, closed out the month of April in this money channel. So money rearranging itself. We might just find all kinds of different things show up in the last days of April. But also, come the 7th of the month, it goes into gateway number 12. And it's one of those fascinating gateways, the number 12. It's the gateway of stop. And it doesn't mean to say things can't keep going on, but it basically gives us the possibility of doing things very differently, right? It's like stop the old program and be alert to a different program being available. And as Carola says, Jupiter brings this massive expansion. It's not about giving up or saying, hey, I can't cope anymore. It's just about saying in this moment of the receptivity, of reorientation, and getting Jupiter go into this 12th hexagram and just say, heads up, there's something else trying to get your attention here. And so there's this really tremendous kickoff to the month of May. We come up to the 7th of the month. We're in this life theme we call defiance. I know people with this life theme in their design, they do not put up, they'll go along with something and just say, yeah, it's all fine, you know, and then you'll find they do something completely different, completely individual. And that's the whole point of this. We don't come here to live somebody else's program. We're not here to live somebody else's life for them. So be aware of that. Come the 7th of the month, again, this other energy to just see, look, I'm always going down the same old road. My attention is being drawn somewhere else. Let me find my own truth and see if there's something I really want to chase after. Come the 9th of the month, the sun goes into gateway number 23. So we have this channel, the 4323, for the next several days up until the 15th of the month. The 4323 is the download of pure insight that somehow finds its way to be put into language. Carol and I both have this channel by design. My goodness, you know, some of the insights we get sometimes, it's like, how am I going to put this into language? How am I going to say this in a way that people can understand it without them looking at us funny or cross-eyed or whatever? So, you know, it's a learning curve for both of us, easier for Carola than perhaps for myself in getting things across. But, you know, I've learned to speak in a clearer way in these times. So what happens as the sun keeps going through gateway number 23, we have a full moon. And the full moon happens in the 43. So we have tremendous insight available with this full moon. You know, there's times in your life where all of a sudden light bulb goes on. Something just, where did that come from? It's not a case of where did it come from? It's a case of how on earth do I put this into words? How on earth do I actualize this extraordinary, profound, personal, empowering insight? And so we might all find ourselves fumbling a little bit with how we're going to say things around this full moon. But it's a really, really important one for all of us to just have this opportunity to see things in a completely different light. The line is called being restless. This is the 43 line 4. If you are unable to hear sage advice, you remain indecisive. So I really recommend a little bit of quiet time around this full moon, just to let things settle a little bit. It is hard to surrender to life circumstances when your mind emphatically craves change.
That's perfect. That really states it.
So, you know, we're talking about intuition, we're talking about fifth dimension, we're talking about this whole different attunement to our lives. And this full moon is really going to give us something profound to consider in our life. Very, very powerful full moon. So over to you.
I agree. Extraordinarily powerful full moon. And I mean, it's always powerful when it's in Scorpio Taurus anyway, because those are two power signs. But it's at the full moon is at 22 degrees of Scorpio, opposite the sun at 22 of Taurus. But again, the sun is conjunct or together with the planet Uranus, the awakener to higher states of consciousness. So we have a full moon Uranus, you know. It's not just a full moon because it's the sun Uranus together, highlighted by the full moon. And Uranus we've been talking about, it brings us to this point of no return. Like we are, you know, endeavoring to up-level ourselves, our consciousness, our values, and the way that we bring ourselves into expression in the world. It's the seminal work for this time, this period of time that we're in. The full moon also forms a nice flowing triangle with the moving soul path for humanity and with Saturn we were talking about earlier. So there is a pathway for grounding all these changes, and that's really, I think, the key for this time, because we can have a lot of realizations and understandings and breakthroughs, and that's way fun, you know, and delightful. But, wow, you know, that insight, I never saw it that way before. But if we don't ground it, we don't bring it into the fabric of our life and give it practical expression, then it's just entertainment, but it's not something of lasting value. So that's what the more what we call difficult aspect or challenging aspect of this full moon that happens on May 12th is the planet Mercury, the planet of communication and connection with others, in an exact right angle, 90-degree angle square to Pluto, planet of transformation. So what this is saying is that it's time to, and Pluto doesn't just bring change, like dust things off. Pluto brings change, like pull it out by the roots and start all over again, plant something new. And that's what's going on. Now, don't be afraid of that. But, like your whole life isn't going to get pulled up by the roots, but some aspect of the old ways of being for all of us are getting pulled up by the roots. And we're the gardeners, we're the ones doing it. We need to, what do you say when you've got weeds in your garden and you need to prune?
Yeah.
Prune the plants, prune the garden. That's essentially what we need to do in our consciousness. We're challenged now to ground all these new ideas and innovations into practical application. And we're doing it without a roadmap, right? Because it's not like, oh, the generation before us did this, so now we have a way to follow them. No, this is all new for all of us. So we're all learning. We're in a time of high creativity here as we move towards the middle of the month and this glorious full moon on May 12th. Venus in Aries in this beautiful flowing triangle with Mars, which brings not only romance, but also high creativity, and especially high creativity applied to new ways of expressing our work, and also new ways of creating cash flow. Both, if we have a business, cash flow in our business, or getting a raise if we have a job, creating brand new business. So it's a time of ideas that are inspirations, and the inspirations that we need to receive these inspirations in order to raise our consciousness. And that's really what's going on behind the scenes of all of these massive changes, is that humanity is being given an opportunity to raise our awareness. Now, if you just spend a lot of time Googling, or if you spend a lot of time watching television, that's not the news you're going to be getting. You're going to be hearing about all the disasters and everything that's gone wrong and everybody who's not doing things right. I don't know how much of that you want to listen to, but I would say however much of it you want to listen to in order to stay, quote, informed, spend this equal amount of time listening to your higher self, spend an equal amount of time in contemplation, meditation, and listening to spiritual masters in watching inspired stories, balance it out, because we're not getting, it's not on the front page of New York Times that humanity is awakening to higher states of consciousness, but it is happening at a grassroots level everywhere throughout the world, and we all are a significant part of them. So life is asking us to really step up, shine our light, step into a higher frequency, and learn to modulate ourselves to that higher frequency and live in there. That's what this moment's about. It's glorious to me.
Okay, so on we go. The full moon on the 12th of the month.
Mm-hmm.
And then right after that, we have the sun goes into gateway number 8. And this is, again, it's in the throat center. It's the gateway of cooperation. It's the gateway of combining intent. I often call it the gateway of the agent, the one who looks around and sees creativity somewhere and sees how to promote it. So we might say there's a certain marketing aspect about the 8th gateway, but it's just seeing how do we pull resources, the creative resources, not just the same old stuff all the time, and how do we make it blossom? So at the same time, the Earth is in gateway number 14, the gateway of prosperity. And it just happens that Mercury has now moved on into gateway number 2. So for 4 days from the 15th, we have this channel of 214, which is the channel in human design. I call it the gate of the channel of the alchemist, right? So again, we have another completely off the wall, not tried and true, a very different personal way of engaging with things. And the alchemist is basically able to change base metal into gold. You start out with something that's a little funky, and by the time you're done with it, it's all sparkles and shiny. And it's about uplifting the energy. It's uplifting the whole sense of prosperity. It can be a great sense of time for great increase in money. And, Carola brought out this whole idea of being very grounded in these times. So we have the Earth in gateway number 14. right? The gate of prosperity, to allow ourselves to just look around ourselves in the life and just see, yeah, we do live on an abundant planet. And we do have access to these things. It's just a case of how do we go about achieving that access? And Mercury is this gateway, in this second gateway of receptivity, the one of orientation. So I might say for all of us in the middle of the month, there's this whole opportunity to completely rearrange our perspective on where we present our creative intent, if you put it in that way, if I see it in that way. So moving on a little bit, come the 21st of the month, the sun goes into gateway number 20, another of the throat gateways, another of these very individual expressions. And the 20 gateway is the gateway of now. That's it. Now, present tense, right now. It opens up the life theme we call the sleeping phoenix. And so here's the kind of magic of life altogether is, what is life? Is it a whole collection of stories out of the past? Is it a whole bunch of projections into a potential future? Or is there reality actually right now, right in this present moment? And so come the 21st, up until the end of the month, pretty much, the 26th at least, we have this possibility to really attune ourselves into what it is that's really going on in our lives. That particular activation in the 20th gateway, of course, the Earth is in gate number 34. We have this channel being busy, 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 also called the channel of charisma. We might find the eyes following us wherever we go. There's this whole sense of potential of what it is we can do. At this very same time, we have another revisit into this channel of initiation, the 2551. We got Venus in the 51 now. We got Saturn and Neptune in the 25. And this goes all the way into the merry month of June. So let's just say we have this tremendous opportunity in this time to actually recognize ourselves undertaking our activities in the present tense while we're being encouraged to up level our game, to just see things in a very, very different light. So in a sense, the whole of the month of May is about transformation. It's about personal empowerment. It's about stepping up into a whole new realm of possibility. I mean, it's very, very hard sometimes to look down the road and see exactly what it is that's possible for us. We could be down in the dumps. Pluto's in gate 41, you know, it's the gateway of a whole new fresh start of things. And we're being asked to re-examine that. Pluto's in the sign of Aquarius now. You know, there's a whole new age taking place. We're in a new eon now. And really, so kind of out with the old, in with the new. It's out, a lot of the old rules and things are gone. And it doesn't matter where you look in life at the moment, you can just see there's always a possibility of freshness, of something new and deliberately new in this time. And it just takes a shift inside. It's an inner perspective of things. But we're really looking at a time of immense opportunity for each one of us to step up in our consciousness, to take it up a notch. And to me, what I understand about transformation, the universe wants us to succeed. It wants us to grow. It's dying for consciousness to rise up. It really is. It's had enough of the dark ages and all this stuff on this planet. And what I've come to find out is you make a little inner shift, like a little change in personal perspective. And the universe comes rushing in with all kinds of support and encouragement and shows us all kinds of new things, new possibilities. So to me, that really is the energy of the month of May, is opening up and just seeing the force is with us. There really is this potential to bring about some significant changes, and they can come about from a very, very simple rearrangement of perspective in our lives. Just a little change in attitude. So that's my great encouragement to all of us for this month of May, just to see. And it ain't going to stop at the end of May. It's going to keep on going into June and July as well. So get your skids on and, you know, really embrace it and see what's possible.
Yeah, this is where we gather momentum here in May, and then we just keep going. I don't think we have any break in the momentum until a little bit of a Mercury retrograde in August. So yeah, the force is with us. So when we come to the third quarter moon on May 20th, it's interesting how that third quarter moon happens, because it's at 29 degrees, and let me see, 29 degrees and 43 minutes. So just almost the very, very, very last little bit of Aquarius. So 29 degrees, 43 minutes of Aquarius in a right angle to the sun, 29 degrees, 43 minutes of Taurus. So what's significant about that is it's just the last few minutes of these two signs before it moves over, before the sun leaves Taurus after being there for 30 days and enters the sign of Gemini, also on May 20th at this third quarter moon. We have, some of the energies that we've already been talking about. The sun and Uranus being together, what we call conjunct astrologically, catalyzing this awakening, catalyzing this huge momentum towards new ways of doing everything, to new innovations in science, in medicine, in pretty much every industry, not to mention space. So we have this awakening, this rumbling of, a world that's in this process of awakening to these higher frequencies. And for those of us who can sort of breathe in these higher frequencies, integrate these higher frequencies, learn to step into them, live with them, we're going to be stepping into a really glorious time. So the third quarter moon brings this point at which with all of the energy that's been building for the month since the new moon back in late April, tomorrow actually, since that new moon all the way through until the sun goes into Taurus, we've been building momentum towards some breakthrough changes, which are coming hard and fast. Chatan, you mentioned about Pluto going into Aquarius, which, Pluto changes signs maybe once every 20 years or so. So I think this is a big deal. And also, if you look at it, the last time Pluto was in Aquarius, we were in the American Revolution. We were in 1776-ish time. So it's been a long time since Pluto's been there. We're in another revolution now. Joining in this mix is the planet Neptune, which has been in Pisces for a long time. It's home sign of Pisces, about the last 11 years. A lot of spiritual exploration, a lot of inner growth happening at the ground level, not in the, broadcast news, but it's been happening. Now Neptune's just gone into the sign of Aries. And essentially that's signaling a time of saying, all right, we've had enough time to meditate, to take classes, to learn, to raise our consciousness, to learn yoga and deep breathing and inner, cultivating our inner reality. And that's all great because we need that, because that's the backdrop of the coming times. But it's also now time to visualize what are the actions that need to be taken. And, there's no better time to be seeing what those actions are. The conjunction of Saturn and Neptune moving into Aries, and Saturn will be moving into Aries too quite soon. It calls for a commitment to our spiritual principles that are grounded in actions and the choices that we make. So not just lofty ideals, actions, choices. Venus still in this beautiful triangle flowing aspect with Mars, bringing all this creativity and forging new pathways for our work and the expression of our work in the world. There's a lot of catalyst of new activity, new changes, and new ways of doing things, all happening around the same time. Scientific breakthroughs almost daily. Big revolution going on. We want to let you know, we've got a little bit more to share about the remainder of May, but we want to let you know that next month's broadcast, instead of doing it live, we're going to be pre-recording it for you because Chatan is going to be in Bali teaching human design and also teaching his newest work, the karma clearing work, basking in the adoration of many of his followers from the eastern part of the world. They're teaching in Bali, so he won't be here for our monthly broadcast. And we're going to produce it early, and we're going to make it available to you instead of on the Saturday, which would be the 24th of May, it's going to be available on Thursday, the 22nd of May. So you'll get an email about that. All you need to do is register. Even if you can't watch it on Thursday when it's released, when it's live, then it'll still be available for you. As long as you register for to be in attendance, you'll get the recording, so you can go back and listen to it. But it will be live on Thursday, May 22nd, 9:30 in the morning Pacific time. So if you want to get in on that, go ahead and register early for next month. So here we are at the very last part of May. We're going to be back with you before then, but just want to let you know ahead of time, we're going to have a new moon in Gemini, and that's going to give us a heads up on all the progress that we've made towards allowing this new innovation to get expressed in all that we do, and new perspectives, new higher awareness, breaking through into higher dimensions of reality, this fifth dimensional being birthed through us at this phenomenal time. And we'll be back to talk about that more on the 22nd. Did you say anything in conclusion?
I'd like to say a little bit about the new moon at the end of the month.
Yes.
The sun and moon together in gateway number 16. And 16 is the gate of selectivity. It's the enthusiasm of skills or quick recognition of things that have a future or things that don't. And the gate 16 in its highest potential is mastery. And the mastery is that you know your life so well, or you know what it is that you do so well, that you can recognize in a glance whether something's right for you or not, whether something's going to work well for you or not, or whether it's going to need a lot of work to turn around and do something different with it. So the first line that this new moon takes place in is the line that's called paying attention. Enthusiasm can be aligned to the real needs of the moment or not. And that's the crux of mastery. What is needed in the moment? We've had this whole very, very transformational month of May, hugely transformational. We're going to look back at the beginning of May from the end of May and say, wow, I'm in a very different place in my life right now. Hardly recognizable what was going on earlier on. And so this new moon is just going to really highlight that and just say, yeah, I'm attentive now. I'm paying attention.
Absolutely. New moon in Gemini, conjunct Mercury in Gemini. So we're going to be, getting ideas and sharing those ideas, and just at a really, really inspired level, and I look forward to this time towards the end of May. So, and look forward to being back with all of you on May 22nd. You'll be able to view anytime, register, you can view on the 22nd with us, or come back and view it on Friday, the 23rd, view it on Saturday. We wish you a very, very, very merry month of May.
Go for it.
Yes, and join us in our human design training if you'd like to really up-level your coaching work, your private practice, or begin doing really transformational readings in human design that change people's lives forever.
We call our company Evolutionary Human Design deliberately. We just see there's a huge evolution in consciousness taking place. Human design is a 21st century tool for exactly this. So we give you our greatest encouragement to join us. Okay.
And we'll see you there, and we'll see you also next month.
Bye for now.
Bye.